Hi, I'm Paul Hefner, the owner of Finance Pals, and today I'm going to be creating a monthly cash flow forecast. I have um, just under 45 minutes, so I'm going to see how far I can get before my meeting at 1. Um, Here is sort of high level of what we're going to go through. So export the data. So I already did this step to keep sort of all the companies anonymous, but I basically ran it back to 2020, went through last month. And then I ran it by months on an accrual basis. I'm going to put the data into sort of a template that I have, but you can easily create your own template. And you'll be able to see all the steps, sort of what I'm doing. It just makes it easier for some of the summaries and stuff. And then I'm going to update the balance sheet and cash flow tabs. This is the main driver or main thing we're talking about here is what's sort of the monthly cash flow. And then we'll create some summaries if there's time. So let's see here. So I have exported the data here, like I talked about. So here's a balance sheet and a profit and loss. And then I have a template here. So all I'm going to do is sort of just paste these into this template because it'll make it a little easier for me later. I'm going to start by just doing the balance sheet. And I think I'm just going to delete this data here. So I can just override it. Let's see. So let's go to our balance sheet. This is straight out of QuickBooks. Paste it there. And then we'll do our profit and loss here and delete this one. I'm gonna delete it's like this old one I created was oh, actually we can keep some of those summary ones. We'll see if we want to keep those the same or not. Okay. So you don't have to, you could just create I don't know how to say it, but we can copy this into the same workbook. We don't need the total. Just need this one. Okay, so we got our data in there. And obviously there's a lot of things, with different number of rows and stuff. Than our old one. The other one had, almost 200, 150 rows. This one only has 75 rows, but either way, it gets us going where we're going here. So the first step, so one, we've got the sort of actual in there. Now we're going to start creating a forecast. And you'll sort of see some placeholders, even in this model here, there's all sorts of headcount and invoice details and all sorts of other things, customer analysis to get churn and things like that. We're not going to cover that in this video. We're just going to get a quick cash flow forecast. And then obviously you can refine the cash flow forecast with other inputs as you get going. So anyway, so the basis of everything sort of comes from the revenue forecast. So I'm going to go into 2020 for January, and we'll pull in the revenue, total revenue. And then we'll do it for 2021, January. And again, this is just meant to be, it's a really good first pass because, a lot of times people won't have seen their financials like this. 2022. Yeah. 2023, we can get up through May. Let's make sure these are all row 14. Yep. Okay, so these we can carry all the way across. funny, you can still have some old data here, so we didn't get deleted yet, but we will correct that now. Go through May here. And so the first thing I want to do is just sort of look at the year total, except we're going to override these cells in a second. We've got, let's see this formula. So revenue, essentially doubled from 2020 to 2021. And then in 2022, it grew by about 37%. So we can say, okay, what do we think it's going to do this year? And this is where you can spend, 8 hours and, looking at marketing spend and cost acquire for each channel and all sorts of stuff, or, how many sales reps you're hiring. You can spend a lot of time here. For now, I'm just going to sort of say, it looks like it's sort of slowing down. If I'm looking, I'll sort of see how these numbers sort of match up. It looks like it's, a little higher. So we'll be able to factor it in. And so we'll do this formula here. Where is this doing? Now we're going to do a completely different formula. Equals this times plus whatever our variable is. So we can play with this variable some as we go. I'm going to lock it. So hit F4. It will carry it forward. Okay. And then let's go ahead and just put these other ones in here. Looks like that formula looks okay. It's the exact same one, little one. This one's good. I don't see anything good there. Okay, so now we've got sort of a view of our multi-years, and you may only be looking at 1 year. But let's see what this bump is. So 2021 had a big bump. 2022 had a big bump. 2023 not have that big bump. Sort of, and then you can sort of see if we just look here, here's 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. So it sort of goes up. There's a little higher in July, down in August, and sort of, but for the most part, it's pretty steady month to month. There's not a huge amount of seasonality. Maybe it's a little slower in Q1 and a little higher in the summer, but either way, this feels like, without having a lot of other data and going forward for a bunch of stuff, this is, a decent forecast to start with. So now we can sort of pull all this info into the model. So first, we will pull it into the revenue part. It's really this one here. This is June. So if it is through the rest of here, then we'll go into 2024. Go into 2025. Typically like to go out 3 years. Most of our work, sort of focused around, 2023 in this case, and sort of finishing the year strong. But it's good to sort of have these placeholders sort of built. It doesn't take much more time after you've built the shell of the model. Okay. So we've got that. The next piece is we can sort of start modeling the cost of this. There's lots of ways to do this. What I'm going to do is, see if I have there's lots of things I did over here by quarter and different things. Forecast input notes. So I'm just going to use this as sort of a formula. So let's just take sort of our 2020, because we're about halfway through the year. I don't know how good the May data is. I should have looked at the books to sort of see, but I think it's sort of good through April, based on sort of my understanding of the client. So I'm just going to say, based on April, on sort of the first 4 months of the year, this is sort of where the expenses are running. We can sort of use that as a um, thing. And some of these like aren't necessarily, these are more one-time things, but we'll just use the formula and do it. So we'll do it all as a percentage of revenue as a first pass. Um, oh yeah, I gotta do the cost of goods sold too. So let's take these divided by the revenue. We'll lock that one down. And then we can sort of just go up and down for all these. So this is super small. It's not even worth it. But okay, so we've got merchant fees. I'm just going to just sort of just drag this formula down for now, and then we'll fine tune it later. We're not going to do it for net income, but we'll see. And so it looks like some of these things are already updated, but the obviously this P&L is a little different than the other one. So I'm just gonna override all these formulas and I'm gonna come back and update it real quick. So this will be all of these. I'm gonna do it on a different row just so we have the right format here. I'm gonna do this just to get it. Well, no, I'll do that in a second. Okay, so it equals this. I always forget. I'm gonna hit F4 twice. Let's see if that's the right. It might be 3 times, but I used to have it memorized, but I don't have it. This one we will also need to lock so it goes side to side. So I'm gonna try 2 F4s on that one as well because we want it to slide across. We'll sort of just see how much we messed it up. Okay, so this is right. It's going to be pulling this one, so it's going across. And the other one is not correct because it moved the other one to the right. So we hit this one again. Okay, so now it's all updated. I'm just going to drag this for all of these things. And we'll override it with sort of summary formulas in a second. How did that work? Okay. I want to actually put this one down. Yeah, okay, so now we can sort of take these summary formulas here. Sort of doesn't really do anything, but so I'm sort of looking for anywhere where there's a underline. There's a lot of things we could do to clean up the P&L and other things. We're not worried about that. We're just sort of giving the template for creating cash flow forecast. Okay, so now we've got P&L forecast, which is a big driver of it. Look at the balance sheet now. Actually, just to make it easier, I'm going to delete all these other sort of rows until we get down to the bottom. Okay, so we got that. Let's do balance sheet now. Balance sheet's really easy at first, then we have to update it after the cash flow tab, which there's one little sort of trick there. For now, I'm just going to copy this sort of across and then we'll we'll update this a little later. Okay, so now there's a little bit of modeling involved, or I don't know what you call it, Excel degree, I guess. Usually, let's see, I'm gonna do it's different, just to make it easy. So I'm just gonna pull this in. It's formatted like that, but okay. So we've got our accounts and so this is 37. Yeah, we'll use this one here. So for February, it should be B minus C for PayPal. So let's see what row PayPal is in. PayPal is in row 13. So what this is doing for all the balance sheet accounts, it's just showing the cash flow from those, especially if you have assets that you're purchasing or owner draw or things like that. Yeah, so let's just copy this from up here. Let's just copy it down. Okay, perfect. So now we've got sort of our things. And typically, I didn't think about it, but sometimes I will pull the balance sheet 1 month earlier and we'll get, for a true pro forma, we'll do that and do it. But we're, I'm not saying this to investors or anything like that. It's just more focused on the future. So the 2020 cash flow, it doesn't really matter. But normally you would have it 1 month earlier and you can get a full cash flow for the year. But we have with 2 years or 3 years of data, it's not as big a deal. Okay, so we got that now. Let's do the sort of tricky part of getting everything balancing and going forward. Okay, so I'm gonna just add a few checks because I don't. Think of how I did this before. Let's try this formula and see if it works. And so you can add all sorts of categories. We'll do it if there's time on the summary. On what's operating cash flows and financing cash flows. I'm just sort of trying to get the model to work. So sum up. So I don't want to sum. Let's see how do I want to do this because this row is just totaling up these rows. So I'm going to pull in certain ones. Let me try it out a little. Let me do just a mini summary of a few items. Okay. I'm gonna take some of these total rows here. I'm skipping over the bank accounts one. I'm sort of taking all the other accounts. So total current assets. So I'm going to do current assets plus fixed assets. So this is the total assets here. The fixed assets is really small, but we'll stay. So these two sum, or it should sum this right there. And I'm always, again, all right. Sometimes I have the sign wrong, so we'll see if we get it right. Okay, so now let's look at doesn't look like there's any AP. Figure out how to change these signs in a second. Let's call it loans for now. Zero. Okay, so there's nothing there. Usually there's, or depending on the structure, sometimes there's shorter distributions. Okay. I'm going to, let me just check my math real quick. So it's B minus C for an S. So here our AR went down $49. So we got $49 of cash. So that should be positive cash flow. Where is it? Okay, so that looks correct. I think our signs on these are wrong. Just double check. X. So Brex went down, so we paid it down, so we would have lost that amount of money. So it should be a negative this. And there's a check we'll do at the end to sort of check that we did everything right. And just think here. I'm just changing around a couple different things here. So if you've done this before, you might see some of my mistakes in going through here. But okay, so those are all looking good. Um, the net income. Yeah, we do want to change. So net income went down 4,000 instead of 4,000 loss. It's really from here to here. They had a 7,000 loss. Okay, so that looks good. And then a 4,000 loss. Okay. So, like I said, there's a little bit of calculations and magic involved here, but so total cash flow, the balance sheet, way into that. So total bank accounts went down by $6,000. Okay, let's see what we missed here. So 379. Sounds not right. So we were summing up this one, which included all the bank accounts. So just our assets went up this amount, our fixed assets went up this amount. So that's one change. So if we look at our total, this one is 53. What's this? Okay, so that looks right. And oh, yeah, sorry, our cash flow is working out. Okay, so that was there. So our check is the same. So then I'm just going to make this formula easier. Show this. Okay, great. We've even built a little summary here that we can use. Okay, so in January it doesn't work because of the retained earnings changes, but the formula is working. We can just see it, but we can. It's running out of time. 3 minutes left. Okay, so we could do this just by. Um, okay, I'm not gonna worry about this. We would just back out whatever the actual income change was for this year. And okay, let's keep going here. Okay, so we've got it all done here, but we don't have our forecast coming through. Okay, so now, we've got to do a few things here. So start with oh, I'm sorry. Those are ending bank balance stuff. Bank balances. We don't have it the month before. Oh, get it like this. Mm, another check. So we're gonna build in these checks so that we can sort of see it when it doesn't work. Okay. So I think if we just reset this as of 2023, ending bank balance here. January of 2023. Okay, so now we're sort of have our actions. We can correct all those other things later, but like I said, I'm running out of time. We got to carry forward a few other um, things to get this all working. So, okay, so now our first thing is why isn't the net income changing? I think it's something right around here. So net income is calculating. Perfect. Come here is not. Well, I thought we had carried this all forward. Or maybe those are extra rows at the bottom. Okay. Okay, so our net income here. This is actually actual. This is changes plus the net income from this tab for June. Then, so now when we do that, our cash flow is all out of whack. So I think if we do this, again, it doesn't always work, but delete those. Say this is equal to this. Okay, so this is all working out. Our balance sheet. Sure. Sorry for the noise. There's some kids running around. What assets? Okay, so we're all in sync. So we ran out, didn't have time for the summary, but you can see now we have a projected cash flow. So for June, we're forecasting 5,000 down. We can investigate, sort of why it's not showing more cash flow. And obviously we can refine, AR and AP if they have big things. It looks like they've taken on some loans in the past, so here's money coming in March. So we have to figure out where that is. Oh, it's like there's a strike loan. So anyway, we can forecast this out, but right now we have, forecast for June of what cash flow is going to be. We could refine, revenue based on, our revenue forecast here of 24,000. We could, which actually looks a little high. So I'm actually going to lower this to just based on the trend. It's really like yeah, okay. So now that's going to be even lower cash flow out now. Or maybe it's not because it's just how it's forecasting out. But anyway, so we have our, we can keep refining these things, but this is the basic shell of the model of cash flow, of how you build it. And then ultimately, I don't have it here, but you would have, summaries of here, what's the, sort of higher level summary they can see sort of by year and then by month. So we can sort of see all this stuff instead of looking into detailed tabs. But thanks for watching. Love to hear it if you have any questions. Thanks.